Well, good day, everybody. Welcome to the Lifetime Talks Training Podcast. And I am just jacked today because we've got a longtime member. First off, almost got 22-year member, actually worked for us for a while. He decided to go on this journey to join our 60-day and our 60-day challenge and was our spring winner. And I want to welcome to the show Mr. Perry Jeffries III, who's president of Diamond Equity Advisors, a registered investment advisory business consulting firm in our Columbus area. And I just can't tell you, this is going to be a great explanation of how powerful some of this stuff is and how it's kind of helped, especially during this whole end of COVID kind of end of COVID type of journey. So welcome to the show, man.
Hey, Jason, hey, thanks for having me, man. I really appreciate it.
No, man, it's a great story. So, there's so many different things that I want to kind of get into, but I'd love for you to just start with your story, man. Like, why did you choose to do this thing?
Man, so the 60-day, it's kind of funny. I almost say the 60-day chose me, if you will. So to give a little backstory to it, man, like many during the pandemic, I put on that pandemic 20, 30 pounds, right? And then in October of 2020, the end of October, I had a severe leg injury.
Wow.
Roller skating completely blew out my ankle. Just
like real roller skating, roller skating.
Real roller skating. Yeah, for sure.
You were doing the dancing to the moves.
Man, I mean, I thought I was smooth, but it one time around it didn't even make it one time around, my friend. Man, we could look back and laugh at it now, but it was crazy. So, man, gruesome leg injury, blew out the ankle, completely hanging off the side. So I was, non-weight bearing for 2 months, and then, a ton of physical therapy and what have you. So right on the heel of recovering, but starting to recover from the leg injury, I get COVID. So I get COVID. My symptoms weren't too bad. And then right the day after being released from, COVID quarantine, if you will, I started having some severe pains in my back, and it just throughout the course of the day just kept getting worse and worse. Eventually to the point it was unbearable, actually more pain than breaking the dang on ankle. And my wife rushed me to the emergency room. And I was diagnosed with a blood clot in my lung. So we had a severe leg injury, COVID, and then throw a blood clot on it. So going into the 60-day, man, I was in bad shape. I'm pumped full of drugs. I'll put on now 30, 40 extra pounds, looking crazy in the mirror, but also too, just super concerned about my health. So so that's what really started the 60-day journey.
Got it. And man, it's so powerful because so many people think that this thing is totally about the transformation. And in a lot of cases, it starts there, right? But it's about this story, and it's about how people can utilize, things like this. This is just our version of it to be able to help keep that extra motivation and get kind of over that hump.
Yeah, definitely.
So that's and so thankful that you're good and everything's moving forward. So how did you get, like, what was it? Did you just go to the club and that they you said I want to sign up for this thing, or tell me about that experience? And then obviously you worked with somebody too.
So with being a long-term member, and like you said, mentioned earlier, being a former employee years, I guess 2 decades ago now, I had a relationship with a trainer already, and going through this, whole experience, he stayed connected with me and my wife, and because that training relationship turned into a friendship, if you will. So he was very familiar with what's going on with me. He was checking in on me, and then he was like, "Hey, y'all," he reached out, "Y'all should do the 60-day." And I was like, yeah, we should do the 60-day, man. You know what I'm saying? So it started off with him kind of reaching out to us because we've had that long-term relationship. So we signed up for the 60-day. And I remember my wife and I were coming back from vacation, and I saw myself in the mirror, and I said, oh, man. So I hit him up like, hey, man, we're starting right now. Let's rock and roll. We're super excited to get going. And what it turned into, to your point earlier, is not just about the transformation, right? So initially it started off like many people, like, man, I don't like the way I look in the mirror. I need to get this fixed. Well, early on into the 60-day, I'm still putting on weight, and I'm like, something's not right here. So something's wrong. So I was kind of venting to my trainer, who I have a great relationship with, George Smith. Big shout out to George. And I was like, brother, something's wrong. He said, and he asked me this question, Jason. I was like, oh man. He said, how old are you going to be this year?
Oh,
well, gonna be 45. He was like, you might want to go get some blood work check, get your blood work checked, your hormones, you're getting older, you're coming off of, COVID and the blood clot. And I did that. And lo and behold, I found out I was a walking time bomb, brother.
Oh
So
man.
high blood pressure, elevated liver enzymes, pre-diabetic, like anything bad internally that you couldn't see, I had an issue with. So we found out we had those issues going on. We got on some protocol to start kind of fixing those things, and it just gave me laser focus moving forward into the rest of the 60 day. So that's kind of how that started, man.
That's great. And this podcast, obviously, it's some general population, higher end fitness enthusiasts, but trainers, and so many times trainers, whether it's our organization or others, sometimes look at the 60 day and just say, that I don't want to do that. It's a money grab or whatnot. And, at the end of the day, it's about motivation, right?
Yeah.
And what can we use to get the most amount of people a little bit more motivated? Then you tack on, because then again, you tap into the recommendation of, hey, maybe you should get some blood work done, or how old are you? Is, sometimes a tough question. They think it's a salesy question, but at the end of the day, those are things that are super important to understand so that they can help you, and then think about the motivation. I always say 25 pounds is only a number on the scale, but it's the story behind the 25 pounds that really creates, the urgency and the motivation to be able to go and do things, as you found out as well.
Yeah, man. To even piggyback on that, and if I was, speaking to, 100 trainers in a room, I would say this. First I would ask this question: why do people hire trainers? So somebody asked this question on social media, and it kind of tickled me. They're like, well, Perry, aren't you a trainer? I sure used to be. But why did you hire a trainer? I said, wow, you're missing the whole point. The best coaches in the world have a coach. Your best athletes in the world have a coach, right? You know what I'm saying? Advisors have advisors. So yeah, I may be a trainer in a former lifetime, but I didn't hire for you to tell me, hey, Perry, you need to do this. It was the accountability key, right? We use the virtual app. So me and my trainer actually never saw each other face to face.
Yeah,
so
we want to talk about that.
Yeah. So when it was the app, so the accountability, I had to put in my weights and in sets, and he was checking it and like, hey, what's going on here? Right. So you had the accountability. Then you had the systems. I'm real big, even from an entrepreneur standpoint. I'm always preaching to, my clients and in the social media, have systems. John Maxwell has a phenomenal quote. It says, systems allow ordinary people to achieve extraordinary results. Right. So having systems in place, so accountability systems, right. And then kind of just that community piece. So that's where I found people kind of hire trainers. One, some people will hire trainers. Hey, I don't know what to do. That wasn't my case. My case was, man, I know I need to move this needle and I want to get the best out of this 60 day. What do I need to do? Yep. I need somebody telling me, holding me accountable. I need a system, and I need a community. So that's kind of my take on it.
It's so powerful. And that there's so many reasons. I'm the same way. Sometimes, we do it all day long to the point where we don't want to do it for ourselves.
I don't want to think about what I'm doing today.
Exactly. And obviously you're, very successful professional with limited time and all of those things. And, that's really what I would say, that's what the app is about. That's what virtual or online coaching is all about. So, tell me a bit more about that experience, because again, I want to be clear with everybody listening, is that you worked with George, but George and you didn't work together each day. He built the program into the app, and every day you had something to do. So tell me about that experience.
It was a wonderful experience for me. So one, I'm just a nerd. I'm a numbers nerd to begin with, how I kind of ended up in the financial service piece. But I love the app because you hit the nail on the head. I didn't have to think about anything. I'm managing clients' money. I'm helping businesses grow. I'm a dad to two, gorgeous and beautiful 11-year-old twin girls. I'm a husband. So I got all these things I'm trying to juggle. We're in the middle of a pandemic, right? All these things you're trying to juggle. I didn't want to have to think about what I needed to do, to be able to just go to the app and be like, well, this is what we're doing today. And then be able to just check that off. 2 sets of this, 3 sets of this, these many reps, was a game changer for me, because it took away the mental anguish that you have going into workout. So anybody who's ever been to the gym without already having a workout, knowing what they're going to do, they get there and like, well, what am I going to do today? Well, I guess I'll do some of these, or I might
It's
do
Monday.
some.
It's just National Chest Day.
It's National Chest Day, right? Well, it's Monday. Everybody's doing chest. Let me just, right?
Yep.
So what I loved about the app, it told me what to do, and it had me doing exercises that I normally wouldn't pick. Right. So it's like, I don't want to do this.
Yep.
Well, I got to do it. It's on the app. Right. So though I would try to go in and substitute some stuff like, well, I'm going to substitute that.
Yeah.
But anyway, but the app was phenomenal in that sense, man, from a programming standpoint.
Yeah.
I didn't have to think about anything. All I had to do was show up.
Yeah.
And the one piece, Jason, that really did it for me, and I think why we moved the needle the way we did, on the app, it lets you know this is what you did last week or last time on this particular exercise. So somebody like me who's competitive in nature, I'm like, well, last time I did this leg press, it said I did, 250 pounds. Well, I'm not going to go below 250 pounds. I already know I could do 250 pounds. So guess what? We're going to do 280 today, right? And that's really powerful when you think about that, because if you just can get 1% better every day, you can move the needle. And with the app, I knew exactly this is where I did this last week. Well, guess what? I'm gonna do a little bit better this week, and we just started seeing that number go up. So I know that had a lot to do with the results that we had as well.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say is, those, I think as trainers, we forget about very little things, and it goes back to systems, like you said too. We forget about the things that we've done to be able to help people, and everybody's so different. And little pieces of motivation are what get you through the day. Like you just getting, I know first thing in the morning, it tells you, here's your workout, or there's a message that comes to you and it's like, oh shoot, I got to go do that. Otherwise he's going to see that I didn't do that. So it's just so powerful. And, I'm so glad that your experience was fantastic with it and relatively cheap too. Right. I mean, or it was.
Oh man, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And like one thing about the app too, man, and again, this is me kind of being a nerd. It lets you know when you've done your personal best. So if you the most volume on this particular exercise or the high, and I will look for that at the end of the workout. So I hit save on the workout, and if I didn't see personal best jumped in there, I'm like, oh man, I didn't have any personal best today. Man, I was sucking today. I got to do better next time, right? So that did it for me as well. Yeah.
Well, and what's cool too is that if you're really paying attention, or the trainer's helping you out too, is the fact of, okay, why? Like, did I not sleep last night, or did I not eat yesterday? Right. Or why is my energy down? So did I not take the supplements that maybe you'd used some, that thing. So there's so many little things that it can tell you when you're keeping track of it. And sometimes it's a learning curve, right?
And that integration was powerful because it also integrated with MyFitnessPal. So it wasn't just the exercises. For anybody listening to our episode today, it wasn't just the exercises. We actually had a plan around the food as well. So how many calories and the macros, and how many grams of carbs and proteins and fats and things of that nature. So like we were dialed into those numbers, man, and we could and we make some adjustments. Saying George, like, hey, let's adjust this down a little bit. Okay, let's see how your body responds to it. So again, just being able to track those numbers was huge for me.
Man, that's great. Well, so now you're getting towards the end of the 60-day, and you're seeing the results that you got. And I if you don't mind, I'd love to post, and just kind of show one of the before and after pictures, if you wouldn't mind.
Yeah, I don't mind at all.
Yeah. So this is Perry, and this is his before and after. So as you can see, there's, great transformation. We got to plug George Smith there. There's George Smith, up at what club is he at?
He's in the Columbus market at the Upper Arlington Club. Yep.
Upper Arlington. Beautiful, beautiful. So hats off to George as well. So, you do your final weigh in, you do your final pictures, take us from there.
So, this is and this is just being 100% transparent, right? So afterwards, we made some gains, right? So I think our body fat went from close to 30% down to like 19 or so. Weight dropped down. I think we went from close to 260 down to 244. I think we ended at. But the fact of the matter is, I've actually competed in physique shows before.
Okay.
So I know what my body can look like at peak, and I like, these before and after pictures ain't that impressive. I'm like, dude, you know what I'm saying? I was like, I feel great because what the pictures don't show was, I went and got my blood work. My blood pressure was down, right? The liver enzyme situation was corrected. All of that, all of those issues I had where I was a walking time bomb was corrected. So you don't see those in the pics. And I was more excited about that than the actual pictures themselves. And then looking at the pictures, like, I know I've looked better than this when I did my shows years ago, right? So when I did the pictures, the last pic I had my daughter take. Because I was like, okay, well, so my little 11-year-old, I was like, hey, babe, I need you to take this picture of daddy real quick. So she's like, dad, you got your shirt off and whatever, just take the pictures.
Always that brutally candid honesty.
Dad, you got your shirt off. Just take the picture, child. And right. So we took the pic, and afterwards, I was like, I'm not winning this thing, you know what I'm saying? Because I know there's gonna be some people who look phenomenal. So took the pic, and George was like, man, make sure you submit your story because you're looking at the transformation, but your story is so powerful and it can inspire people. So because he said that to me, man, I went and typed up my story and kind of just shared that entire experience. And lo and behold, here we are. So it's weird because I'm looking at this before and after picture, and I'm like, man, I've looked way better than that years ago when I was competing. But again, it's not, to your point, not just about the transformation, but the external transformation that we see, but internally just literally saved my life. Like, until my trainer told me to go and get, the blood work done, I would have no idea that I was pre-diabetic and high blood pressure and these issues. So I'm a walking time bomb now, coming off of COVID with now having a history of having blood clots in the lung, right? So I was more excited about that than the actual pictures, and to then turn around and kind of win and be one of the grand prize winners was mind blowing to me, man.
Well, and in that story, and something, actually, we didn't talk about it before that you just told me, is that you actually got COVID. And God, man, especially with the history of lung and respiratory type things that you've got, that, that didn't hit you. And again, I think through this whole pandemic, I just haven't heard enough about how exercise and eating right and doing just the fundamental things we take advantage of. And I'm assuming a little bit, but you let me know, is maybe it didn't hit you so well is because you were, you were in elite shape and you were doing those shows. Facts. And you lived a healthy life. And, obviously through life things, you get a little bit out of shape. But God, what can you say about that?
So, man, really great question. So if we kind of even level set this thing and say, hey, Perry, if prior to getting hit with COVID and prior to breaking the leg, I was in the gym every day anyway, because that's just, again, it was more of a lifestyle piece, right? So we didn't start going to the gym to start doing the 60-day. We already going to the gym, and I'm so thankful for that, because had I not already had a certain level of fitness or a certain level of commitment to the gym, or from a lifestyle standpoint, man, how bad would I have been with the broken leg and then contracting COVID and then the blood? It could have easily took me out, right? Very easily. So the fact that I was pretty healthy there, and then even with the COVID, man, we found out we had COVID, and again, it's so crazy because I'm still non-weight bearing at this point in time. Wow. And we went out to look at a property. When I'm with our real estate agent, look at a property, literally in and out. I'm on crutches and I'm sliding downstairs trying to look at the property, and we wake up Thanksgiving morning, and we're like, I got a headache. My wife's like, I got a headache. We both got headaches. This is weird. And the same behind. Yep. So I never had a fever. I never had a cough. We had a headache, and we was like, well, let's just be safe. And we went in, rapid test, and we got the positive result. So again, because of where our fitness was at that point in time, because we believe in exercise, we believe in supplements, right? It just didn't impact us as heavily as it may have hit some other people. And I know it hits everybody differently. So I'm thankful that we did have a certain level of fitness when it did come for us.
Yeah. And I think, to kind of wrap this whole thing up, as far as the story goes, is, health has always been important, but it's the tragedies, unfortunately, that all of a sudden elevate a lot of people's emotions and thoughts around going and getting in better shape, or going to regular physicals to get a shape so that you could identify if there's risks. And now with COVID, it elevates it even more, because we don't know, we don't know how it's going to hit you, but we do know that the better shape you're in, the less risks that you have, the
Correct.
better your body's going to respond to it. So now this whole concept of health and fitness was important, but I think it's elevated its importance a little bit in the population. And,
Yeah.
to be able to have a virtual option or an online coaching or something there helping you, telling you what to do, because I think that's a lot of people's issues too, is they just don't know what to do, or they don't want to think about what they have to do.
Yeah, man. Great point. It's the real preventative medicine, right? The best preventative medicine is exercise and nutrition and lifestyle, right? And no, and again, in full transparency, I still like to hang out. I still like to drink my bourbon. I became a bourbon connoisseur during the pandemic. Hence, probably 20, 30 pounds was bourbon. And right. So you still can live, and still enjoy yourself. And I think sometimes people get their head wrapped thinking that, oh man, you're living this healthy lifestyle. Okay, you're on this really strict diet and you're doing this. No. You still did those things. So we still have Five Guys on Fridays. We still had Taco Tuesdays and things of that nature. So we still enjoyed those things. But again, everything was tracked. So I knew exactly how much to consume and things of that nature. And it just made it where we weren't guessing and just throwing stuff on the ball, hoping it can stick. But to your point, from a preventative medicine standpoint, either you're going to, make the commitment and the investment to get your health together now, or down the road, you're probably going to pay more money dealing with medications and things of that nature because you didn't take care of things on the front end. So you're going to pay. Are you going to pay now, or are you going to pay later?
Are you paying in time, or are you paying in money and time?
Facts.
Right?
Exactly. Exactly. Yes, man.
And
yes,
time's
indeed.
the only thing we can't get back. Money we can get, right? So that's great. Well, so now you submit your story, and a couple of weeks go by, or a month, or whatever it was, and you identify that you're the winner. How did that happen? First, I know there's a bit of a thing that they do sometimes, but tell us about that.
So I think it was I got a phone call, I think, from George. So if I remember, because it's all still kind of like surreal to me, but I believe I got the phone call saying, it was like, hey, you're one of the finalists. So it wasn't, hey, you won. It was like, hey, you won the finalists. I was like, what are you talking about? And he's like, dude, your story's one, I'm saying? I told you your story's inspiring, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay. So I go in there, I'm like, wow. So I'm like, hey, I'm a finalist. And again, I'm mind blown. And then again, I go in and I look at the pictures again, because, you're going to go to that. And it's kind of like the natural, like, okay, let's see what some other people doing. I saw some of the other finalists and I'm like, wow, they look good. Like even my wife, who I know loves me to death, is like, they look better. They look way better than you. No, she didn't say it that bad. You know what I'm saying? But I knew
her face said it, not her words.
They're like, ooh, they look good, babe. I was like, yeah, they look way better than me, huh? Yeah. So because we're both realists, we both done shows and work out and things of that nature. So okay, you've been a finalist, and like this was still mind blowing. Like, wow, this is kind of crazy. Yeah. And then when they contacted me and said I won, like I was almost numb. Like, are you serious? I was just mind blown, man. And it really spoke to. I even had a conversation with one of the trainers at my home gym about it, and I was like, man, I'm mind blown by this. And he's like, P, because your story, right? It's not just about, hey, I did this and now I have six-pack abs, right? You know what I'm saying? I got an 8-pack. It was literally, I attribute the 60-day to literally saving my life at that point in time, right? And the story isn't about just, hey man, how do you look? It's really about how do you feel? Or even kind of what I used to tell my trainers back in the day, the why behind it. Yeah. You know what, the why. So I can get out here and play with my daughter still, right? You know what I'm saying? I can still get out here and enjoy life. I can still go on vacation. I have the energy and the clarity now to take care of my clients, which that health piece definitely translates over to business and things of that nature, man. So again, it was just numbing. I'm still getting my hair wrapped around it. The fact that we're even on this podcast right now is kind of mind blowing to me.
That's awesome. Well, and I, again, a huge shout out to you, but I think that's where I think the majority of the people that are out there, it's all about. It's not about being a 6-pack, ripped, no body fat, or very minimal body fat. I mean, there's people that want that, and there's no reason, and that's great. But at the end of the day, I always say it's well-being that is the most important right now. Are you healthy? Are you happy? Are you comfortable in your own skin? And then all the things that will lead into that. And so before I get into how this impacted your business and the things that you're doing there, because I'm sure it has, so let's shut this down and say, okay, how did you get informed that you actually won, and what happened there?
So the story, let me think here. I was at home, and my wife, I get a text, how did it go down? So they were trying to, so here's the deal, because we have a personal relationship with our trainer.
Yeah.
He contacted my wife to let her know I won. So when I got home that particular day, she knew I had won already, but she wasn't sharing it with me because they were trying to surprise me at the gym. So I think I get a text message like, hey, when's the next time you're going to the gym? And I was like, I'll probably be going on this day over here. And they're like, okay. So they were trying to coordinate it. And then they finally was like, well, might as well just tell you. You won. I'm like, what? So that's how I found out. So actually my trainer was trying to coordinate it and kind of make it a surprise, but I was taking too much time to get to the gym.
The program was over. You weren't coming as much.
And then I think if I'm not mistaken, we have a holiday fall in there. So I think it was like a holiday fell in there, and it's like, okay. So and then so they said, hey, you need to come. What day can you gonna work? What time you gonna work out on this particular day? Yeah. And I was like, well, I'm probably gonna work out at 1:00 in between clients. They said, okay. So I get there, I get to the gym, and though I know they're waiting for me at the gym, I walk in, man, and it was like I had, won the presidency, man. It was, I walk into the club and they had noise going on and confetti.
Oh,
and
that's great.
Just, and though I knew I was going to the gym that day, it was still like, wow. So the way they put out for me, man, just made an old dude feel really, really good, right? And it's like, this is really cool.
Man, that's a great story. And then, I think for people that maybe are listening and they don't quite know, then there's some things that, there's the recognition and just great job, but then what do you get? The membership, a couple other things that you got for winning as well.
Yeah. Again. And when I saw that, I was like, because again, I wasn't paying any attention to it. Because I was like, oh, I ain't gonna win this. I saw my pictures and just whatever. But yeah, man. So it was like 10 personal training sessions. I'm excited. I get a stage bike, and I'm actually training for a sprint triathlon right now. So that's like right on time. Some shoes through one of the shoe sponsors. I think a membership for the first 1 year worth of membership, Invisalign. So, we talk about that whole piece, and then a mattress. I think a beauty mattress. Beauty rest mattress. And it's like, man, it's like, whoa. Like, and again, it's still like, I'm still getting my hair wrapped around it. Like, oh my gosh. Right. Yeah. And then I'll share this with you. So the piece that's really been kind of interesting is now there's pictures of me at the gym. So I'm in a hot tub the other day, and this guy looks at me. He's like, "Where'd I know you from?" And I want to be like, "Well, about 20 pictures of me around the gym." You know what I'm saying? I'm like, "I don't know." He's like, "Did you play basketball?" Yep, I sure did. I played basketball in college.
That's great.
Right. So dealing with that whole piece and people ragging on me like, "There's the champ," and I'm like, "Oh Lord, here we go." But it's been fun though.
Makes you feel good. Well, so the untold story here now too is obviously all of this leads to you being a better person, being a better father, being, having the energy, all that, but then also you had started your business. So I would love for you to chat a little bit about your business and how all of this was impacted, positively through, some of the things that have happened.
Yeah, man. So one, I'm a true believer that, and I know it's cliche and everybody's heard it before, that health is wealth. But we started a company years ago called Financially Fit, but it was spelled PH Naturally Fit. Yeah. So when I came out of being a personal trainer, I went directly into the financial services. Mm-hmm. So, and I remember somebody asking this question to me, man. It's like, man, how in the world are you going from, personal training to financial services? And I said, well, it's the exact same process. They're like, what do you mean? Well, what do you do as a personal trainer? Tell me your goals. Tell me your time frames that you want to achieve your goals. What has worked for you? What hasn't worked for you? Right. And then my job as a trainer is then to prescribe, okay, to get you to this goal, we need to do this. We need this in cardio. We need this in nutrition. We need this in resistance training. Right. I'm going to be your support system. We're going to track you here. How many times we're going to meet. Well, it's the same thing when you kind of get into the financial service piece. What are your financial goals? What is the time frame? Here's my recommendations. Might be some stocks, retirement plans, things of that nature. So the two really tie together in a special way. So when we think about what we did, what we were able to accomplish, I say we as a family and
Mhm.
and the club and things of that nature, we were able to accomplish there. It all ties together because if I have more energy, right, then I'm able to, do better for my clients. But even from an example standpoint, my daughters see this and they saw me working out and they saw daddy going to the gym again. So, cause I was
Yeah.
doing 2 a days and as we was getting
Yeah.
closer, I was even jumping in a little
Yeah.
third little mini workout in there.
Yeah.
Right. And they got to see that. And my clients got to see that because I kind of shared the story. So it kind of goes into the whole discipline piece. So I took that and it's like, hey, I always create these analogies. Hey, this is what we did in 60 days health wise. What could you do in 60 days with accountability and systems and coaching and community in your finances or in your businesses and whatnot? If we were able to move the needle like that in 60 days, what could you do in these other aspects of your life? So I think that's how we've tied all of that together.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And something I didn't talk about, but I want to bring in a point that you mentioned about systems is the ability to reproduce. Like if you don't have a system, if your trainer or your financial advisor, whomever does not have a system that's worked in the past that they can actually say this is how we do it,
Right.
then it's very hard to, and the system is agile enough and it changes based on the goals, but at the end of
Mm-hmm.
the day, the system is what allows you to reproduce for others,
Yep.
and whether that's a trainer, whether that's another financial advisor, or whether that's for people, in the general public. So
Yeah.
and so we'll put in, you have a membership, I believe,
Yeah.
the cash flow club. Tell us about that.
Yeah, man. So, one of the things when I embarked on the entrepreneurship journey, so from financial services and having our own firm and things of that nature, was having a resource, like a single resource I could go to get good information. Like in this day of social media, everybody's telling you what they think works. Oh, you need to buy Bitcoin. You need to, you don't need a whole life. You need term. You need,
Yeah,
everybody has an opinion, right? And it
yeah,
can be so confusing, especially
yeah,
when you start getting into the weeds of how to grow a business. So
yeah,
what we created with the Cash Flow Club is kind of what you would consider a Netflix for entrepreneurs. So one centralized location where you can get good, solid information
yeah,
through experts who are all aligned so that you're not getting misinformation and
yeah,
somebody's opinions and things of that nature. So we're super excited. And I'm so glad you asked this question. Let me tie it even back to
yeah,
the fitness piece.
yeah,
After we had the blood clock and the scare with that, I had a conversation with my team and I said, here's the deal, y'all. I could have died. And they're like, you Perry, but you did. I said, but here's the
yeah,
deal. Here's the reality of it.
yeah.
Blood clot in the lung is serious enough that I could have died. Correct.
Yep.
Well, my wife said to me after we get back, I'm home from the hospital. And she said, baby, had you passed, a lot of people would have been impacted. I was like, yeah, I know the family. She's like, no, no, not just the family, but your staff, your clients, the businesses that you manage, the people who follow you and and learn from you and get inspired by you. And I said, wow. Now, like, I have to create something that can leave a legacy behind. So my team, we just got to work, man. We got to work and we created the Cash Flow Club. So what I'm doing is uploading that with all of my best content. I'm bringing in other experts to share, different things that is important to entrepreneurs as far as growing the
Beautiful.
businesses, whether it's investing, cash management, insurance, health insurance, whatever, all aspects, even getting outside of the financial piece, even get into the mindset training.
Yep.
So that's what we've created with the Cash Flow Club, man. Those are my
Beautiful. Beautiful, man. And again, it's the power in a positive way of social media, of being able to get curated content onto a platform so that it takes the noise out. Because again, just
yeah.
because that's the problem with social media, is everybody's got a platform, and
Oh my
some
God.
people should and some people don't. That's why we created this podcast. And again, I really appreciate that, because I think, go to that site and check it out, because it's the same thing we're trying to do now at Lifetime with the digital membership and our content and our experience life and the podcast, is get really good content so that
Yeah.
you never know, and you know where you're getting it from. So
Right.
that's super important. Well, man, anything else that you want to share with the audience? There's trainers out there, high-end fitness enthusiasts. I'd love for you to kind
Yeah.
of end with, your final thoughts.
My final thoughts would be, man, for those trainers or enthusiasts, if you will, is that you're appreciated. I know the pandemic and the social distancing may have put, not may have, but I know it impacted your businesses and what you're doing, but still understand that you're needed, right? Good coaches, whether we're talking in finance or fitness or whatever, good coaches are still needed. And if anything that we've learned from going through this pandemic, and I even shared this with folks on the business side, the pandemic forced you to pivot, forced a lot of us to pivot and figure out how we can still impact lives with some limitations. And it's probably really set us up for some wins. So if you're watching this, understanding that, me here in Columbus, Ohio, won a national 60-day challenge, and I never met my trainer, never saw, the first time I saw my trainer face to face was when I walked into the celebration at the club. And that experience from a 100% virtual platform not only impacted my life, but in turn the lives of the people who have followed me and now have signed up for virtual training and whatnot. It's like, wow, you didn't even meet with your trainer. Nope. We did this right here, and this is what we're able to do. So just understand that I know it's been a tough time. It's been a tough time for all of us, but you can still impact lives. You just may have to be a little bit more flexible and understand that you may have to pivot.
Yeah. And to kind of piggyback on that last comment too, is just that you have to pivot, right? You said you pivoted and you had to change a little bit about what you do. And we can't be dinosaurs, man. Dinosaurs are extinct for a reason, right? And we have to be able to change slightly over time. So take the time to learn things that will allow you to help more people, because everybody says they want to help people,
right?
But now you've got to help people on a very low, what you would call price point end, but you can do it in the masses very effectively,
Absolutely.
So
absolutely,
man, Perry, well, thank you. And it's been a pleasure spending the time with you. I got to meet you in person. I got to get out to Columbus at some time. Maybe I'll come out to the Arnold or something like that.
Yeah, definitely, man. Definitely.
Or dare should I say it, a good friend of mine's son's, I don't know if he's going to start this year at Michigan, but he may probably by mid-year or next year. So I might have to hit him up for some tickets. I'm sure everybody else will probably ask him for that Ohio State, Michigan. You're probably not going to get him, but so anyway, man, well, I appreciate you, man. And thank you so much for sharing your story.
Yeah, brother, I appreciate you as well, and appreciate the Lifetime Fitness family, man.